It's a brand new company, but we've got a very specific mission. It's really just to launch a national analytics business. We've for a while now felt that set-top box data on a census level provides tremendous value for both programmers and advertisers, and we felt the time was right to really launch something that could help kind of galvanize that, pull it together on a national basis, and provide value back to the programmers and advertisers that have been in desperate need of this data.
Yeah. And now you're building this business on top of an acquisition you recently made.
Right,
Tell us about that.
Exactly. So there were kind of two parts to the formation of the company. One was the formation of Dolan Family Ventures, which is a new kind of venture-backed organization that's going to be looking at focused investments in the analytics and media space, this being the first. The second part of it was the acquisition of Analytics Media Group, who were early pioneers in the use of set-top box data. Most prominently, the Obama campaign was one of the first political campaigns that used data on a really scientific basis to buy linear media at a much more efficient basis and a way that would maximize the reach among the target audiences. Everyone thinks linear is somewhat of like a legacy ad platform, and yet they really use data to do more advanced targeting and things like that. That was really one of the early use cases for data.
Got it. So what are you thinking about in terms of the outputs of what your products will be? Will they be, like, is it a media planning process? Is it more of an analytics service? Is it segmentation analysis?
It's a great question. Data is the input, the output are really actionable insights, and I think there's a lot of focus and attention on media optimization. So clearly one of the outputs would be using the audience data to be more efficient in how media is purchased, planned, bought, and optimized. But if you look at programming overall, if you look at the course of an hour, you've got 50 minutes plus of programming. We think there's also use and application of the data for curating programming and scheduling and getting better intelligence on how content should be distributed using this data set. So we think we're just scratching the surface on the applications beyond advertising, but to your point earlier, it's the output would be reporting and analytics with data as kind of the input. So in other words, we're not into a data licensing business in terms of relicensing data that we're acquiring. In some cases, if there are tools that we can plug into, by all means, we'll do so. But it's really to provide utility and versatility out of the data, not just data.
So tell us about the team you're hiring then. Are you building a team of a lot of data scientists capable of doing advanced modeling?
We were very fortunate in that Analytics Media Group was in large part two functions. They had a really large and capable engineering team that built a lot of the back-end systems to move big data and match big data. And then separately there's an analytics team of about a dozen data scientists that are located out in Pasadena. Some of them are doing kind of adjunct work with Caltech, some of the best minds in the data science and even behavioral science realm. And they're the ones that actually, that's where the magic happens in terms of the real data crunching. But I think a combination of that plus the technology to kind of get data in a state that it's usable is really the secret, because a lot of the data that we're pulling in is somewhat raw.
Yeah. You talked earlier about, and you mentioned a second ago, the ability to impact content development with all this data. Are those your first clients that you see, or your likely first clients, or those that are producing content?
Well, AMG, or Analytics Media Group, which is now part of 605, they have a client roster. Sure. It's primarily large brand marketers that have been really progressive with the use of data. The real new focus for the business is on the programming side, really offering up programmers kind of the full set of analytic solutions, everything from tools and insights that can be used for the curation of programming, the marketing of programming to measure things like tune-in and tune-in conversion, and all the way to ad sales, where this can be packaged for their own kind of resale. So things like ROI analytics for their advertisers, or indexing work, where we can index different shows and networks based on certain audience comps. So there's kind of a full set of services that we're going to be introducing for the programmers. That's a big focus for us, mainly because we feel they've been somewhat disenfranchised from all this data. A lot of the data came on the back of Addressable. Addressable was really focused on the 2 minutes of local time an hour, and the national programmers really don't have necessarily access to that because it's been sold by the local cable systems. So our real focus is to take a lot of the good stuff that was done within those 2 hours and literally extend it across the full hour from both national ads as well as the programming.